Hi, I'm Mark Crossley, and you're listening to the Prawn Sandwich Podcast.
How's the bacon, did you say?
Salah! Oh, wow! Oh! Coutinho! It's a goal! Stanislas makes it 3-3! Goodness gracious me! Melo! My goodness! Cross past Dixon, cross comes Adam. Oh, in! The goalkeeper's pass! Steering glass and scored! Aguero! I swear you'll never see anything like this ever again!
Sven Goran Eriksson. He's got Jimmy Savile Zeka, so where'd he get a lovely girlfriend? He tried so many players for the Holland game.
Yeah, how do you forget Collymore?
The say is insane. Sven Goran Eriksson.
Hello and welcome to the Prawn Sandwich Podcast. I am your host, Nathan Cupid, and as usual joined by Dylan McKenzie and Jamie Jackson.
Good evening, good morning.
Hello.
Nice to be back again for another episode.
Hi.
And as you can tell by that entrance music of Sven by Bell and Sperling, we are going to be doing a dedication episode, and it's obviously my turn to choose, and I have chosen none other than Mr Sven Goran Eriksson. So before we start, thoughts on Sven?
I fucking love the enigma that is Sven Goran Eriksson, to be honest. It was the fact he was England manager at like my prime time of like being proper obsessed with football as a young teenager probably helps. So I have a lot of nostalgia looking back at him, but it was someone else, some boy else, Sven. Like,
I have a lot of love for Sven.
You don't like him.
I'd love to witness him trying to sleaze on a girl. I'd love to. I'd love to see it. I'd love to know what his patter is like.
Did you see the thing on when he was a guest on Sky during lockdown? And I think it could have been like Dave Jones or whoever was the host was like, if you're trapped on a desert island, Sven, who would you take with you? And he's like, what, as a player? Does it have to be a man? And then everyone just starts absolutely laughing.
What a sex case, like.
He asked him to pick his all-time managed England 11, and he picked Joe Hart, who he never picked for England.
Does what he wants. Oh man, he picked.
Ridiculous.
I looked at his, like when I was reading about him and that he selected 82 players in total for England. Only 72 of them played, but like 82
we'll get to
players.
England. We'll get to England. let Nath carry it off.
I did read a thing about something like he couldn't name more than 30 players that he'd picked when they tried to recap.
Starting 11 for like 4 years in a row. That's why.
Ridiculous. So, well, the 5th of February 1948 in Torsby, Sweden, was born Sven Goran Eriksson. So what, he's 70 odd now, 73 years old, and he's still kicking. So fair dues, Sven. During his playing career, he was a right back. So it's even more reason for Dylan to love him.
I respect that. I respect that.
A career not even spanning 10 years, though, to be fair, as a player. 200 appearances, scoring 33 goals. So
that's pure prolific from right back.
It is quite good, isn't it?
They scored on and off the pitch, did Sven.
How long have you had that written down?
Love it. Made his senior debut at 16 for Torsby IF, moving to Safel, and then ultimately just finishing of 10, well, not even 9 years as a footballer, man. That's not long, is it really?
Oh, so retired at 25?
Something like it. Retired at the age of 27. There we go. 27 years old.
1973, retired at Karlskoga FF.
Good side then.
Prolific in the Swedish third division.
But to be fair, it's not really like Sven's playing career that's.
We're not here for the playing, are we?
We're not here for that.
So, after retirement from football, he receives an offer from, well, let's say lifelong friend now, Mr. Todd Grip, to be his assistant manager at Degerfors. And then a year later, Todd Grip leaves to go to Sweden as the assistant manager of the national team. Sven gets the manager's job. 1978 secures promotion to the Swedish second division, which then earns him and his assistant manager Tom Chadney a chance at managing IFK Göteborg, which was signed, sealed and delivered in 1979. Which is
it's one of the biggest sides in Sweden, aren't they?
Yeah, they're more AIK, I'd say, isn't it, really?
I think you can say Gothenburg as well if you want this, but fair play for trying to do the Swedish pronunciation.
Yeah, you've got to try. You've got to try. Love me some Scandinavian football.
I rate it, mate.
Yeah, no, I was impressed, to be fair. Braver man than me.
I'm that guy that like walks around IKEA and instead of calling it a cupboard, I'll call it like a Flushusen or something.
Fiona rips me for saying Syria for Syria.
Love it. Well, basically, a very good start to management as with a big side. Managing to win league titles, league and cup double, a UEFA Cup. Yeah,
he got a treble in his last season there, didn't he?
Yeah,
UEFA
Hamburger Cup in the final.
Yeah. Tobias Hussein's dad played in Sven's Gothenburg team.
Love that shout. So swiftly moving on from his native Sweden, obviously 1982, getting a Swedish side to become somewhat European champions. He gets a job at Benfica, which is no matter what decade or whatever it's in, it's still quite a jump, isn't it, really?
It's a massive club, that. Yeah, you wouldn't get that now.
Oh, not a chance. No, well, definitely not from Scandinavian football.
Saying that, he has just won the UEFA Cup, though.
Yeah, well. That is true. That is true.
But I didn't realise when, I knew it'd been around a long time, but I didn't quite realise just how successful it'd been in the 80s as well.
Yeah.
At all until I started looking for this.
His Benfica record's phenomenal.
Yeah. It is ridiculous. I dare say his managerial powers, from retirement to England job, was probably it. Anything afterwards was just feeble.
Even the last few years, England were banter years.
So obviously he joins Benfica in 1982, immediately winning the Premier Division
and the Cup.
And then was it runners-up in the UEFA Cup again to Anderlecht?
Yeah, aye.
So he's quite he hit the ground running, really. Somewhat of a Swedish Mourinho.
20 years before Mourinho.
His exploits at Benfica get him a job at Roma in 1984. He joins Roma.
That's Roma. They were in a bit of a decline at the time, when there was 3 years after they'd won the league title. And,
manages to lift the Coppa Italia in 1986.
Runner-up in the league that year as well.
Which isn't bad, really, considering the standard of football in Italy then.
Yeah. That's where his relationship with Sinisa I'm not even going to pronounce. You know who I mean? The centre-back Yugoslav that could welt in a free kick. He took him everywhere with him after Roma.
Loved him. Absolutely loved him.
Number 11 at centre half.
Yeah. He started off as a left midfielder
Yeah.
And it was Sven Goran Eriksson told him he was too short and slow to play as a left winger, so he moved into centre back.
And then couldn't give up his number.
Yeah, isn't he like the record scorer of free kicks in Serie A?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's got the best ratio ever if you compare it to like kicks taken.
He's class. It's got like
He's like
two in a game on
he's like
multiple
never
times.
never mentioned in those things where it's like, who would you want on a free kick last minute?
yeah,
A Sinisa Mijatovic, please.
yeah, absolutely. What a set piece he was, man. So obviously a couple of years in the capital, and then he decides to leave Rome and becomes the manager of Fiorentina on the 1st of July 1987.
Well, that had been a Roberto Baggio's Fiorentina as well. 87 till 89.
Yeah.
I would have been it.
Yeah,
Is it?
just. Yeah.
Just.
Baggio goes to Juve just before Italian 90.
Shit anyway.
He's not though, is he? Don't.
For a bit of context, there's another podcast that one of them had a view that Baggio's overrated, and Nathan had a pure meltdown for 3 hours this morning.
I did. I just don't see how anyone can say that he was crap.
Chris Scholes upset him today.
Unbelievable. Yeah, he has, to be fair. Oh, it's in my head already. So, a trophyless time in Fiorentina, which is somewhat unusual for peak early Sven.
Kind of against the grain for him in this mad run in the 80s where he's winning something every club he's been at.
Untouchable. But then he moves back to Benfica in 1989 for a second stint. Gets to the European Cup final, gets beat 1-0 off AC Milan.
Yeah.
Still manages to get another league title though in 1991 with Benfica. And then he decides to leave again in 92 to join Sampdoria. Goes back to Italy.
His relationship with David Platt was formed, and there's his longest spell at a club as well.
No, yeah, 92, 97.
Can't really blame me for like that Milan lineup in that final. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely unbelievable that Milan.
Galli,
side.
Tassotti, Maldini, Costa Curta, Baresi, Ancelotti, Rijkaard, Van Basten, Hullet.
Get Capello in charge as well.
Sacchi.
Sacchi.
Sacchi, aye.
Sacchi.
Rigo Sacchi.
Nice.
Nutcase. Aye. Good manager.
Well, he revolutionised Italian football, apparently.
He got a good relationship with Roberto Mancini as well at Samp.
Yeah, he loves Mancini, doesn't he?
Yeah, obviously he takes him at Lazio later on, which we'll come on to, obviously.
We'll get to.
brought Verona over whilst he was at Samp as well.
Yeah, we need to thank him for that.
He probably loved Juan Sebastian Verona and all.
Why wouldn't you? He's unreal.
The I think the Ballon d'Or or World Player of the Year or whatever it was in like the 2000 Sven's like vote, his number one vote was for Juan Veron.
Love it. Absolutely love it. So at Samp, he manages to win another Coppa Italia in 1994. And Fujian Bozkov introduced a defensive system that was based on zonal marking. But yeah, pretty good at Samp.
Well, got them to a Champions League final and all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was that the Barcelona when Ronald Koeman scored?
Yeah. So that lived in the side with Mancini and Gianluca Vialli up front.
Yeah, aye. The goal twins.
When Vialli had hair.
Yeah.
Love it. Pretty much just skipping through it. Like, I'm just desperate to get to England, me.
England's what we all know, really. This is just a slight appetizer. Just
So in June 1997, he leaves Sampdoria. But in the December of 96, he agrees to leave them at the end of the season to, then join Blackburn Rovers. But then in the February, he decides to go back on his word and he stays in Italy and he says he's going to go manage Lazio instead.
Do you think he visited Blackburn?
I generally think he's gone to Blackburn and went, no.
It's cold and there's no women.
There's no birds in Blackburn. Wow.
If any of our listeners are from Blackburn, please let us know if we're incorrect.
And if there's any talent, let us know too.
Till be there in a shot.
Love it.
Sven haircut the lot.
Absolutely.
He must have unbelievable banter because he's not exactly a looker, was he?
No, and you can't imagine him being hung. Like you can't. It's like it'll be like Mr Mackey with his clothes off South Park. He has got pure shades of Mr Mackey about him as well.
Lazio then.
Lazio.
So. Returning to Rome, but for the other side, he decides to bring fellow Swede Tord Grip with him as his assistant. And people like Gabriele Marcotti and people like that say like that Lazio side had the most money spent on it that any other sides had in Serie A. Like some of the talent they had there, but it brought in success. I mean, Coppa Italia, Italian Super Cup, the European Cup Winners' Cup, a Scudetto in 2000.
Well, another treble there.
Yeah, exactly.
Year.
Like
Cup League and Cup Winners' Cup. Or was it Uefa Cup? Sorry.
Yeah. But some of the players that he's got there, so like we mentioned before, he brought in Veron, Mancini. You've already got folk like Nesta there.
Nedved was there.
Nedved.
Mijatovic.
I've got the team for the Cup final against Mallorca if you want us to read that out.
Yeah,
go on then.
Played at Villa Park in 1999. So I can't really say, I don't know the keeper, Marchigani, but then Favali, Salas, Mancini, Mihalovic, Nesta, Nedved, Stankovic, Almeida, Vieri, Lombardo, Conceição, Della Pena. Veron isn't on there, so he might not signed yet, but that's just some of the names already, like rattling off there.
They signed him all the players he wanted with the squad he wanted to build, but they'd done it over the course of a couple of years.
Yeah.
So, like he always said, if he'd got all the players that he wanted right at the start of his tenure, then he reckons they'd have won the league like 3 years on the bounce. Because they were seventh, then runner-up, and then won it.
He was superpower or something.
Yeah, well, Veron, Mancini, and Mijatovic. I keep probably saying it. I'm probably destroying his name pronunciation there.
Mihalovic.
There we go. They were like the main three players that he wanted. Like Marcelo Salas, as you said on there, like brought in.
Yeah.
Eventually got Crespo in his last season.
Just an unbelievable side. Unbelievable kits as well.
Yeah, I'm not gone that far.
I'm a big on Lazio, like.
You're not.
Nah, not at all.
I enjoy.
Are you asking me that?
I enjoy Lazio.
Nah, Mingin Club.
If I had to choose a side in Rome, I'd lean that way. But Jose's at Roma at the minute, so I enjoy Roma at the minute.
The players I just mentioned, then, so to add on to that, like the 1999-2000 squad that won the league. So you got Cincini, still, it's like I say, Salas, Mancini, Conceição, Mihalovic, Nesta, Diego Simeone, Ravanelli.
Oh yeah, Simeone, I forgot about that.
Fabrizio Ravanelli. Veron's in there now. Simeone Inzaghi signed him. Pavel Nedved. But yeah, so Simeone from Inter, Inzaghi from Piacenza, Veron from Parma. So yeah, they must have got him in like pretty much like say anything he wanted. They lost Vieri to Inter, like, but didn't did it?
Didn't know them at all. Like, get Simeone going to Lazio was part of that deal as well.
Yeah.
And like listening to the Golato podcast, like Marcotti says that like Simeone leaving like was what I absolutely fucked into at that time. Because
I rate it. So then,
built himself quite a reputation by now, though, Mr. Eriksson.
he certainly does.
There's a certain bottle job in charge of England not long in getting sacked.
Yeah, there is a certain somebody who we have discussed in a previous episode decided to leave England. But before we get to the good stuff, shall we have a quiz? A Sven quiz.
Yeah.
A good old quiz on Svenis. Well, I've tried to cover all areas because obviously if I stick to like 90s, then it's not really fair on Dylan, is it?
No.
So I have tried to.
How many questions is the pal?
There is 6. There's 6 questions, and I've got 2 tiebreakers just in case.
2.
Today.
I know. To be fair, he's had weeks to do it.
We've been talking about it for so long. Right.
Come on, then.
First question for your Sven quiz. True or false? Sven is the first manager to win League and Cup doubles in 3 countries.
Oh my God.
Yeah, sound.
Question 2. Out of Sven's 67 games as England manager, how many were victories? And you've got 4 to choose from.
Christ.
50, 45, 40, or 35?
How many games? Out of how many games?
67.
Yeah, sound.
What was it? 45 one of them, or 40, did you say? Or both then?
You've got 50, 45, 40, or 35.
Right. Okay.
Question 3. After Sven turned down Blackburn Rovers, who became Blackburn Rovers manager in 1997?
No. I think I've got this wrong. Put it down. I think I'm thinking of a bit later on.
Ready for question 4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Question 4. Sven signed 10 players for Manchester City, but who is his most expensive player?
Oh, fuck, Jesus.
Oh man.
Oh, that is a bit ago, isn't it?
Oh
So
yeah. Who were the signing?
what's that? Like 2007, 8.
Yeah, 7 or 8 season.
Right, I'm gonna. Okay.
I'm trying to think who had the.
I went for mine.
I'm taking a guess.
Simon.
It might be wrong. I've got an answer.
Question 5. In
Yeah.
2009, Sven was appointed Director of Football of Notts County. But what was the name of the company that owned Notts County Football Club?
Oh, I should know this. I actually should know this. I was obsessed with them. I'd read on Football 365 they were getting a billionaire takeover, and I got like 33 to 1 before like it was like knowledge in the bookies for them to win the league. Oh, calf. Nah.
Next question.
Big pass.
Question 6, and your final question. In the song Sven, Sven, Sven by Bell and Sperling, who is David Seaman described as a cross between?
Oh, yeah. There we go.
Oh, I've only got one of them.
Oh, I've definitely got that right.
2 answers, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, I've only got one. Okay, just get on. It's fine.
You sure?
Yeah.
Right then. So, question 1. Sven is the first manager to win league and cup doubles in 3 different countries. True or false?
I put true.
But true.
It's true.
1 second.
IFK Göteborg, Benfica, and Lazio are your 3 countries. So obviously Sweden, Portugal, and Italy.
Yeah, I thought I'd be right when you put it in.
Question 2. Out of Sven's 67 games as England manager, how many were victories? 50, 45, 40, or 35?
I put 50.
Got 45.
Correct answer is 40.
Oh.
It's not
You
a bad.
shit.
That's not bad.
It is.
I suppose, yeah. Question 3. Who became Blackburn Rovers manager after Sven turned them down in 1997?
I put Roy Hodgson, but I think it was the season after.
It's correct. It's
it's
Roy
Roy
Hodgson.
Hodgson.
Oh, right. Oh, yes.
Roy Hodgson ended up getting the sack and Brian Kidd come in after that.
That's where I'm getting mixed up.
Shit.
And Brian Kidd's the manager that brought Matt Jansen to the Rovers.
I need to get this next one right to have a chance of winning then, because Jay knows the last one.
Question 4. Sven signed 10 players for Manchester City, but who was his most expensive signing?
I've took a punt on Rolando Bianchi because I think Alano was only about 7 mil.
I'll put Bianchi.
That's the correct answer. £8.8 million. He signed Rolando Bianchi.
Was it from Regina?
Yes, it was, mate. My dad absolutely worshipped Rolando Bianchi for a solid 2 months.
He scored on his debut, then never scored again.
He scored at Upton Park, didn't he?
That mega fringe kit.
My dad loved him. Question 5. In 2009, Sven was appointed as Director of Football of Notts County, but what was the name of the company who brought him to Notts County?
No idea.
Nah.
Munto Finance.
Well, Jez won.
Question 6. In the song Sven by Bell and Sperling, who is David Seaman described as a cross between?
There's a cross between Burt Reynolds and Peter Stringfellow.
Correct.
Thought I couldn't get the end, man.
Yeah, takes it. Less. Well, we'll go through tiebreakers just for the crack. Before the World Cup in 2006, which club did the fake Sheik say he was going to buy and make Sven manager of?
Fulham.
The fake Sheik?
Yeah.
Oh, Chelsea.
Aston Villa.
Oh, of course.
And your other one, how many league titles has Sven won in his career in total?
Oh,
6.
5.
Correct. Bang on, 6.
Yeah.
Love it. So then we'll that's your quiz done. Just to kind of split it up a little bit.
We're getting to the fun part now.
This is what we're here for.
This is it.
So October 2000, final game at Wembley Stadium. England get beat 1-0 due to a Dietmar Hartmann free kick, which David Seaman should have saved. Kevin Keegan goes into half-time, tells everybody he doesn't know what to do. Full-time, resigns as England manager.
What a mess, like.
Lovely little dig there,
In another like typical Kevin Keegan style interview, I think I've run my course and Mr. Nice Guy on the television screen, broad, but he's gone. That doesn't matter. So then there's a list of names as long as everybody's arms as who's going to take over. But then June 2001, it becomes announced that Sven Goran Eriksson is going to leave. Let's
wasn't as late as that. 2001.
Oh, his contract ran out in 2001 June with Lazio.
He was England manager before 2001.
Was
before
he?
June 2001, huh? His first match was against Albania and against Spain in
Oh,
March
here we go.
2001.
Sorry, I've got them in.
2000.
Yeah, Eriksson had initially agreed to take over in June 2001, but he decided to leave his post early at Lazio and became England manager in January of that year. So he become the first non-British manager to take over the English national side, which sparked some form of controversy, shall we say? I can
Folk were
imagine
raging, eh?
a
Folk were
lot of
raging at the
people
time.
kicking off. Like,
It was the FA chief executive at the time was called Adam Crozier, and he was like quite young for an FA like head. So he like totally went against tradition. He like proper wanted Sven. Like he was his like number one target. But you could see why, like the success he'd had with Lazio over the previous like 3 or 4 seasons.
Exactly.
And it was like a poison chalice as well. Like
Yeah.
you were on a hide into nothing in that job. Like why would an English manager at the time take it? Plus there wasn't really any.
There's no decent England managers about, really.
Yeah. Who was finishing?
Yeah, but this country was probably racist as fuck then and just wanted an Englishman in charge.
I can't
Not
even
beat around the bush.
I can't even think of who you'd like as an English manager who would even get that job, like Kerbishley, Peter Reid or something like that.
Reid.
Yeah, well, that
Peter Reid would have argued one of you probably up there. So that's how I'm not
100%.
trying to big us up, but that's just how bad it was.
Maybe it's Martin O'Neill at Leicester. He'd won League Cups by then.
Not English is he's not a
I know that.
guy that drinks Smiths in the pub. Like,
they made the Mike Bassett film on the back of like Sven getting the job kind of thing. Like loads of the jokes when they're looking for a manager and Mike Bassett, and they're like the referencing like who it could be, and nobody English wants it, and it's like tied in quite nicely with Sven's appointment.
It did break the mold. Let's say that. Like
it did here, but like other countries will have had foreign managers.
Oh yeah, like it's nothing different over there, but we're stuck in our ways. You know what I mean?
I was convinced we were going to go on to win like World Cups and stuff because we got Sven Goran Eriksson at the time. I was pure excited, but I was like 12, 13. Could have been anybody getting appointed and I would have been excited like that.
I just remember reading Match magazine and then going, hold on, he was at Lazio, and I'm thinking like, now he's England manager. That's weird. I just remember just thinking it was weird. But
I didn't have a clue who he was. Honestly, I was 7, right, and I was like proper confused. Obviously, just being 7, I thought you were like the players. I thought you had to be English. I didn't understand it, mate. I was like, what? Like I didn't get it.
Just one of them strange moments for English football. But
you know what was meant about him when he first took over? He was everywhere. Like he was up and down the country at like every game we could get to. Sunderland were flying at the time. He was at the stadium like 3 times in the space of 2 months. But he'd like you'd see him rocking up at like obscure grounds. There's absolutely no point. Like saying like circa 2010. There's absolutely no point Fabio Capello going to watch Man U versus Chelsea.
No.
What is the point in that? Like you're
There's
gonna
no
pick those players.
Yeah,
but you're gonna pick those players regardless that are playing there. Why not go and like see firsthand how
how other players are getting on?
Like how other players are getting on at like smaller clubs and how they're doing it. Like,
did he not turn up to like a Sheffield Wednesday game once? You know, go and watch like Sheffield Wednesday in the Division 1 at one point or something. He was literally everywhere. Like you could guarantee Sven was there.
His first England squad was like just evident of that. Like for years we'd had a left-sided problem. In his first squad, he called 3 left backs. It was like, hang on a minute. We've been told for years that there's no left-footed players in England. One of them just called up is Chris Powell, who's in his mid-30s. He's been around all this time.
Like
Chris Powell, Michael Ball, and Ashley Cole.
You can only pick Stuart Pearce.
We've been told for years you're only allowed to play Stuart Pearce at left back, who's left-footed. We've got to shoehorn Phil Neville in otherwise.
Right. I mean, took Lasso in 98, but that had to be with Pearce's permission. So basically, like he turned around the qualification bit, didn't he? Really for 2002? Because if Keegan stayed, we weren't going to qualify.
Well, we got beat off Germany and we drew 1-1 in Finland.
Yeah.
Ray Parlis got a screamer in that game, by the way. But he came. His first game in charge was a friendly against Spain.
Yeah.
We won 3-0. Hugo Egihog, Emil Heskey, and Nick Barmby got the goals. Gavin McCann made his debut. His first squad had about 36 players. Gavin McCann's England squad number was 26 or something.
It was mental. Like he was just pick. Like anyone that had a half decent game on Match of the Day would have got picked. You know.
Aye, that's what I said to you the very first time. When I came on when you were doing the pod on your own, and I can't remember how we got talking about Sven at the time, and I said he was one of my I loved Sven as England manager the first few years anyway. I loved him as England manager then before we got obsessed with the pure glam lifestyle and it only cut players if they were getting married in OK magazine. That was like a shoe-in to get in a Sven England squad.
Before he's on goal one, Sven. After goal one, he goes up his own ass.
After the second sex scandal, everything goes to shit.
It was nice it was refreshing because you've gone for Keegan who picked his mates that he like to play cards with on the bus. And you got Glenn Hoddle,
Tim Sherwood getting in the team.
Glenn Hoddle would only pick certain players that could do 500 top-ups with your shoulders and all that. You know what I mean? It was refreshing to see him go to Coventry City versus Sheffield United and pick someone. Yeah, Chris Powell. You said that Chris Powell got an England cap.
Got 5 caps. Got 5 caps under Sven.
Michael Ball got picked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Players that you wouldn't have thought would have ever gotten into.
That was just his early squads.
Got picked.
That was just his early squads. Later down the line, you've got the likes of Michael Ricketts getting called up and Alan Thompson. But you're right, though. He totally changed that qualifying campaign right around. The first qualifying match, was it at home to...
Was that
home
Finland?
to Albania? Oh, no, home to Finland, you're right.
Where
Beckham and Owen scored 2-1.
Andy Cole was mint in that game.
And Andy Cole got a couple of caps in that. He just couldn't bag, could he?
Nah.
There was a game. We beat Albania 3-0 away. I don't think he didn't score in that game, and that was he missed 4 or 5 chances or something in it.
I think that's the game Phil Neville goes on an absolute unbelievable run from right back and then lifts his head and realizes he's on the edge of the box and shits himself. But yeah, so some wins over, let's say, smaller nations, games that we should be winning in the qualification period.
Games that we'd often mess up though.
Yeah, and then the real test of that qualification period is Germany in Munich, September 1st, 2001. You're thinking we're going to get dicked.
Yeah, I got new footy boots that day. I remember it well. I can remember that entire day. It was such a momentous occasion in watching football, especially when you're young. I just remembered everything that happened that day.
I can remember sitting in the living room and my granddad not speaking to anyone well before kick-off. The first, during the national anthems and everything, just silent. And then, obviously, Germany went 1-0 up, didn't they, with Carsten Janker with the goal. And
6 minutes in or something.
Yeah, and then that was it. Teas all over the living room, effing and jeffing, and it's all Sven's fault. And
my dad screamed at me that night because I swore without knowing. Because I was only 7 when Janker scored. I was just saying every word, thinking I was pure funny. That began with a different letter, and I finally got to Wanker, and he just pure pointed at us with his look and was "Don't you ever say that ever again." I was I have genuinely no idea what I said, but okay.
It was some I just remember looking at it and my dad's saying like, "Oh, Seaman could have done better," but you don't know. Like, I just remember the ball hitting the net and going, "Oh, here we go!" Like, this is it.
I was starting 11 that day. Had Nick Barmby in left midfield.
Yeah, Seaman, Neville, Campbell,
Ferdinand,
Ferdinand, Cole,
Cole,
Beckham, Gerrard, Scholes, Barmby, Heskey, Owen.
Yeah. Steven Gerrard was absolutely phenomenal in that game.
Yeah, he was good in that game.
That was like a big. It won like Young Player of the Year the season before, but like on a national level, that was his first like big performance.
Yeah, he came he stepped up, didn't he, in an England shirt that
it was
in that
class.
game.
Beckham got about 3 assists as well in that game, and obviously an Owen hat-trick. Heskey sealing it and doing his little DJ. It was a golf celebration.
Was the DJ afterwards?
He was going through the phase of doing his deed, like his
the DJ was on the run.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he ran to the corner when he did that.
And then he stopped and did a little putt. He done a little golf celebration.
Go on, the lads. Little into quiz. Can you name the 7 people on the bench that night and the 3 that got on?
Oh God.
Steve McManaman.
Correct. Yep. Yeah, McManaman. He played in every qualifier game, but didn't go to the World Cup.
Didn't go to the World Cup, which is an absolute travesty.
Hargreaves must have got on. He loved Hargreaves. Fowler.
I wanted to say Fowler. Aye.
Correct on the bench, didn't get on. The first 2 got on.
Nigel Martin.
He didn't come on. Oh well, it might have been
on the bench.
Yeah.
Wayne Bridge.
No.
Chris Powell must have been on the bench.
No. You're missing 1, 2, 3. No, you're missing 3. 2 defenders and a striker.
Keown.
Martin Keown.
No.
Fucking hell.
Hoofed. Sol Campbell. Oh no, Sol Campbell's playing.
Hugo Georg.
Nicky Butt.
No.
Oh, it's not this.
Danny Mills.
That was my next guess.
No.
Darius Vassell.
Nope.
This is pre-Vassell. He was the February after.
He loved Vassell.
I did. I pure love Darius Vassell.
Joe Cole.
Nope.
Gareth Barry.
Nope.
Who's other strikers that were getting games for him, man?
Jesus Christ. Your striker's obvious. Andy Cole.
Oh, I would just been talking about
Coley, aye.
And your 2 defenders, one got on and I hate him, and Nave hates the other one.
It's Gareth Southgate.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Jamie Carragher.
Oh,
right.
Oh,
Jamie Carragher came on for Paul Scholes.
Played as a...
Yeah. Owen Hargreaves came on for Steven Gerrard, and the first sub was Steve McManaman for Nick Barmby.
I can't remember Sven Goran Eriksson ever playing Carragher as a defender. Always played him as like CDM.
They were right back in 06, didn't we? Or 04.
And then he popped, didn't he? And was like, I'm not playing for England anymore.
Yeah.
No, what a game that was like.
It was unbelievable.
The thing is, obviously England fans go on about it like it was mint. It was a mint result, but Germany went and got to the final the year after.
Yeah, exactly. But it just, it was.
The occasion was mint.
It was good. I've never said the last time we beat them was in Euro 2000, wasn't it? When we beat them 1-0 in the group stage. So but to go to Munich and to play the way we did after going a goal down, it was unbelievable, wasn't it?
Yeah, just unfortunate that when something shit happens in German football, the purists sort it out.
Yeah, they do.
They actually react.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like there's no dwindling, there's no fanning about. They're just straight in. Don't want to be pure stereotype, but efficient.
No, but it's right though, isn't it? Yeah. It's right though, isn't it? Not like us. You know what I mean?
Thank God that I don't think they had Ballack that night. Might be wrong. That was Ballack's breakthrough season for Leverkusen.
It'd been
the year they got to the Champions League final.
Effenberg maybe is or something. I don't know.
But, there was still another game to go in that group though.
So obviously we beat the Germans 5-1. I hate using that the Germans crack.
The
and all.
Germans.
I know. But anyways, we beat Germany 5-1.
Sorry, Ballack played just to make Jay sad.
No.
He did play. Oof. But obviously, despite all of our efforts, because of Keegan being awful, we still needed to beat Greece to ensure us going through.
I thought it was just a point. Or did Finland need to do us a favour against Germany?
Finland not need to? I think it might have been a point, but did Finland not need to hold them to a draw or something?
Finland needed to do us a favour for us to just need a point, something like that.
For Germany to finish in second, so they could.
But if we'd have won, we'd have guaranteed it anyway.
We'd have gone through anyway. Yeah, but in true England style, we don't do anything like that.
Finland and Germany drew 0-0.
Yeah, that draw meant that we
just before the free kick,
got through with a draw.
It's happening.
We were so bad that day.
So memories of that day was strange, wasn't it? Nigel Martin was in goals, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But
Gary Neville, Ashley Cole, Martin Keown, Rio Ferdinand, Scholes, Gerrard, Beckham, Barmby, Fowler, and Heskey.
So we had no Owen.
No,
but you still that's a team that you'd think, we should beat Greece at home.
Definitely.
Andy Cole came on at half time for Nick Barmby.
He'd have moved Heskey out left. He loved Heskey on the left wing and all, didn't he?
Heskey got the whole game. Sheringham came on for Fowler and McManaman came on for Ashley Cole.
It was just everything that we seemed to do, Greece had an answer for.
Nobody had a good game apart from Beckham.
Beckham. Well, let's not jump the gun, mate, because there's a certain somebody that comes off the bench that scores with his first touch. You know what I mean? But yeah, obviously, we managed to go through. Teddy comes off the bench, first touch, boom. I'm not going to say it because I've already said it once, and Dylan's got a cup with it on. So,
stuck it right in the feta cheese.
And then obviously, free kick comes. Gary Neville. Well, Teddy Sheringham actually says, "Right, you've had too many today. I'm having this one."
I know.
He does. It's pure than that.
Which I love. You've had too many. I'm having this one.
Beckham don't even entertain the idea. No.
And then obviously, he somehow manages to get Teddy away. And what I like about it even more is, when Gary Neville stands next to him, talk about putting even more, the whole hopes of an entire nation is on this man's shoulders, and Gary Neville just comes in and goes, "You need to score this one, by the way," and then walks off cheers for that, mate.
It's pure redemption for Beckham as well.
Everything that he's gone through.
98, it was the whole thing against Portugal in Euro 2000 where the fans, somebody shouted something horrible about his kids and he gave the fans the finger and that, and it just wasn't popular amongst England fans. Even Sven made him captain, which was not particularly.
Yeah, that wasn't liked.
Yeah,
that wasn't liked.
And then he scores a free kick in the 96th minute at Old Trafford to send us to the World Cup.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I'm getting goosebumps. I've just got goosebumps saying that. Only sport can do that.
Yeah, exactly. Just think of that moment and.
Imagine if we actually won a tournament, the goosebumps we get. We're talking about qualifying here.
Well, we could have had that moment, but.
Oh God! Let's not go there. If Sven was in charge with it, no, never mind.
Yeah. So Beckham puts the ball in top bins, wheels away at the corner.
Yeah, rest is history.
It's a good day, and then up comes a certain tournament in the summer in Korea and Japan.
Yeah, which we've done a review of, by the way, if you want to go back and listen to it at some point.
We have. So we'll just
lots of fun games on that one.
We'll skim through the results because we've done that episode, haven't we?
Yeah. But we lost quarterfinals. It's the furthest we've got in a World Cup tournament since 1990.
Yeah.
We got beat by the eventual winners with a half-fit David Beckham. Beat Argentina on the way.
And Danny Mills.
Danny Mills. Nicky Butt.
Danny Mills at right back. Nicky Butt, player of the tournament for England.
Trevor Sinclair.
That was way beneath Perez, that.
Trevor Sinclair, third choice reserve, and ends up going because everybody breaks the metatarsal.
Yeah, picks Danny. Is he picked Danny Murphy? Danny Murphy gets injured. Flies David Dunn out. David Dunn gets injured, so he flies. Flies Sinclair out, doesn't he? And then Sinclair comes back. And
he sends him back. And then
I'm going to pick David
again.
Dunn, and then he goes, "Oh no, I'll pick him," and then he goes back again. Gets on the Argentina bus at the end of the game. Legend, Trevor Sinclair. Legend of that tournament.
I've just got my quote back from Chris's Cutting Edge shirts for my bundle with the Sinclair 4 print on that England away top. So I'm sending them the money tomorrow.
Love it.
And post it off. But there's a game. This is another thing about Sven, right? In the build-up to that World Cup, we had that friendly against Holland in the February where he gave debuts to Darius Vassell and Michael Ricketts. Kevin Phillips also played in that game. So we're 4 months before a tournament, and he's given like players totally not thought of with a chance of going. He's given them a chance to like prove themselves in a friendly.
Yeah, exactly.
Like how many England managers since would have gave? I know Phillips had about like 6 caps at the time, but he's given 2 debuts there at centre forward, albeit it's Michael Ricketts.
Yeah.
So but Ricketts got a cap. Vassell scores, and is like
the tournament.
Is Sven's pet for like the rest of his 10 years England manager. Absolutely loves him. Until he misses a penalty against Portugal in 2004.
Yeah, but you're right though. Like he said, Trevor Sinclair got selected to go. Like, but if it wasn't him, it'd have been Danny Murphy or David Dunn. Matt Jansen. If Matt Jansen doesn't get ill for the friendly against Paraguay, Matt Jansen would have been in with a shout. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So Todd Grip hadn't been blown away by Martin Keown's defensive performance against Liverpool Arsenal. He wouldn't have convinced Sven to take a 9th defender rather than an extra forward.
It's more depressing now.
This is what I mean. This is where Southgate's got it from. This is why Southgate picks like 17 right backs. Because Sven just took loads of defenders. But yeah, World Cup's happened. There's another qualification period to go through. The UEFA Euro 2004.
Was that when? Who did we have in that? I can't remember. Oh, we had Turkey in that group.
We had Turkey in that group.
That was like the big opponents in that group, wasn't it? In that great game at the Stadium of Light.
Yeah. I can't think of who else that we had. I haven't got anything to hand.
I could just remember the Turkey game. And I remember like
Rusty was unreal in that game, mind.
Can you remember like it was during this qualification period, we had a friendly against Australia. Yeah. Where Sven had called up like again, Francis Jeffers, bloody like Wayne Rooney's. This was Wayne Rooney's first game.
Richard Wright.
There was all sorts of random players just like called up for this squad, and he changed the entire team at half time. We got beat 3-1. Jeffers scored, but he changed the entire team at half time. And it was after that FIFA made it a rule that even in friendlies you could only have 6 subs. Ruined it for everyone.
England, Turkey, Slovakia, Macedonia, Liechtenstein.
That's it.
Of course, the Macedonia game where
Macedonia
they scored straight from a corner at St Mary's Stadium. Seaman's last game in goal for England. Lobbed from a corner. 3 months after Ronaldinho had lobbed him from a free kick.
Wow.
Yeah. Knowledge. Boom.
Love it.
But such hope going into Euro 2004, mind.
Yes.
And then obviously the Ferdinand suspension ruining him out of the tournament. You're still like, John Terry coming through.
You're still hopeful. Yeah.
Woodgate.
Saul Campbell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love the Woody shout, mate.
Just for you, pal.
Love it. But well, when we get to the 11s, we'll do. I'll have me little rant about Euro 2004 squad.
Well, should have. Well, if we're doing it on a timeline, like we can come around to a rant anyway. But like, it's got to be said if we're doing it in order. We should have done so much better at that tournament.
Yeah,
Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it.
I think Sven's tenure. That's definitely the one that got away. Really.
It's just trying to shoe on all. I don't know. But
it's just like
it's been talked. It's been talked about by people a lot better than us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're beating France, and then all of a sudden Zidane just decides to score 2. You know
But
what I
Heskey
mean?
decides to
Well, yeah,
absolutely
Heskey
wipe out
decides.
Henry. We missed a penalty in that game as well, though. Don't forget.
Yep,
Beckham missed a penalty in that
Beckham
game.
missed a penalty. Wow. But so
we might do Euro 2004
yeah,
as a tournament, so we won't go into too much detail, I guess.
A
But
defeat to France.
everybody knows what happened.
A win
Everybody knows what happened.
against the Swiss, and then a win against Croatia sees us
Yeah.
get to the quarterfinals against the Portuguese, and obviously we take the lead. Postiga equalises.
Very late on mine. It was about the 85th minute or something.
Sol Campbell gets a goal disallowed again.
Poor man. No
Poor
wonder
man.
he's like tapped in the head now. Like he's absolutely emotionally ruined for life.
The only one that counted was Sweden, and that was the first game in the World Cup.
Yeah. Poor bloke, like.
Absolutely. But obviously, we get beat on penalties in, England style.
But like Paul Scholes retired from international football after that tournament for being made to play out on the left to accommodate Rio Ferdinand to Frank Lampard and Steven Gerrard in the middle.
Yeah, which is an argument people in English football still have to this day.
I know. Let's get over it.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
Let's go. Now, can we complain about?
I want to say one thing about it, right? Do you know? Someone said about it. I can't remember who it was. Obviously, a pundit who watches football better than us. I think it was actually Jonathan Wilson. If you watch Man United, right, Scholes played a lot off the left. It wasn't like England played him left winger. We just didn't have a winger. We had like a narrow 4.
Yeah.
So like, I think it's Jonathan Wilson. They just totally like. England just overhyped the record. Like we act like we were expecting Scholes to run down the wing and whip it in with his left foot.
Yeah,
stuff.
I think if we played the kind of like the style that we play now, I think if we played that 4-2-3-1 now, it would maybe suit it a bit. Like play Lampard in cam. But the only issue is that you've got David Beckham as captain, and David Beckham's the superstar of English football, so you can't drop David Beckham, can you?
But you've also got a manager who's played 4-4-2 for the last 25 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is
He's
true.
never dropping Heskey.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Oh,
that is
anyway, let's get off it like we said.
Yeah. So
we've got bigger things to complain about now anyway.
Yeah, we do. So on comes the 2006 World Cup.
In the midst of loads of controversy, because this was like qualifying campaign when there was the fake Sheik thing, there was the Chelsea thing, there was
the Chelsea interview was pretty. It was pretty hot, wasn't it?
Faria alarm. So now you're on to the third sex scandal.
Yeah,
we've not even mentioned Erika Johnson and Nancy Delolio.
No, we haven't.
They're not all scandals. Let's be not too harsh on it. Okay. Every time he had sex was a scandal.
Well, you wouldn't have thought that at the time, though.
Who a bloke.
just trying to get his end away, and he's like in the news all the time.
Yeah.
Well, there's the book as well, wasn't there? Like there's his book got released, and one of the quotes from the book is, "We were both lying naked on the couch," and things like I can remember that being in the press. Like he's like, why is he releasing stuff like that in his book? And
like when Mr. Garrison writes a novel in South Park, he says, "It was a beautiful penis."
There was just
that's how I'd imagine his book to be spent.
There was just so much stuff going on, like,
and then I think the worst thing that could have been was like, "Oh, I'm going to leave after the World Cup," and it was clear he didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Then anyway, like, I know it's like not ideal to sack a manager going into a World Cup, but he didn't want to be there anymore. The FA didn't want him there anymore. The fans were done with him. And then he named that absolute banter squad for the 2006 World Cup.
It was
Theo Walcott.
It was a ridiculous squad.
I think he just sat at home laughing when he was like writing these names down.
Oh God! Like
Walcott.
Defoe and Bent left out, and he's taken a teenager who's never played in the Premier League.
Peter Crouch.
Peter Crouch.
7-foot stick man.
He was class for England, man. Let's be honest.
Yeah, his record for England was phenomenal.
And he did deserve to go. He'd scored a lot of goals for Southampton that season.
Took Wainbridge to his third England tournament.
Oof, Jesus. Genus went. Stuart Downing played like nearly every game, did he not?
Yeah, he loved Stuart Downing. Once he heard of Middlesbrough and Stuart Downing, oh my lord, no one else was getting on that left hand. Joe Cole didn't know what hit him.
McLaren taking over at Middlesbrough probably pure helped Stuart Downing because he was Sven's assistant for a bit, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
It's like, you've got to pick Downing. He's mint. But like, I tell you what, I did like about Sven though. Like even coming up this tournament, like his faith in Owen Hargreaves. When everybody in England who didn't watch him play for Bayern Munich slated him and was like, "Oh, he's shite him. He shouldn't be playing for England." Hargreaves was absolutely class footballer. He won Champions League at a very young age at Germany. Won the league 4 times, the cup 3 times, or something. And people were like, in England, were saying he was shite and he shouldn't be playing.
Yeah,
it's absolutely ridiculous. Which just like
easily our best player of that tournament in 2006
it's
as
like
well.
Sancho now is getting slated for his start to his Man United career when he's played about half an hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. If you've not watched him in like what he's been doing in Germany for the past couple of years, well, clearly not, because you're saying he's
exactly. But that's just the stuck up attitude that we have on this island towards the continent. We don't watch it if it's you know what I mean. If you can't get a meat and 30 pie at half time, it's not worth watching.
Tammy Abraham will be the next one. Abraham will be the next one.
Don't get me started with that.
Let's not get him off.
He's already been upset once today.
I have.
So, well, heartache again. We've covered this World Cup as well. If you want to go back and listen to the 2006 World Cup review, it's an absolute belter. Actually, that episode.
It is pretty good
fun. It's good fun.
So obviously, January 2006, there was an interview that was released by the News of the World. Mazer Mahmoud was posed as a wealthy Arab sheikh, and he said that he was looking to buy Aston Villa. And Eriksson was recorded saying that he would leave England to be the manager of Aston Villa if England had won the World Cup, and he could also persuade David Beckham to join. You know what I mean? That's not exactly what you want when you've got a tournament in a couple of months' time.
It's not.
Which is ridiculous. But obviously he said he'd leave, and you know, I remember something along the lines like he didn't expect his private life to be put in the press as much as what it was. But
Sven, what have you been the last 6 years?
Yeah, like Sven, you were definitely doing it on
literally
purpose,
a photo of you naked in a kitchen on the front of a paper, man. They're going to put this interview in it.
I didn't expect my private life to be exposed. Sven, you've been shagging on the front pages of the newspapers the last 6 years. You seedy man.
Ridiculous. But obviously,
Jesus.
So in his tenure as England manager, he'd managed to get England's world rankings. So obviously he took over in January 2001. So England's world ranking position was 17th. And by the time he'd left after just before the 2006 World Cup, England was sat in 4th place for the world rankings. Up until then, he was England's second most successful England manager after Sir Alf Ramsey, and obviously things have changed now. But
Sam Allardyce, 100% record, and
and obviously that fraud as well. So in July 2006, his final match as England manager was obviously the Portugal game.
Pens.
ESPN had reported a month later that he'd turned down the chance to become manager of Jamaica. And it was also rumoured in October of the 2006 that he was in talks with Newcastle United to take over as their manager.
I remember that crack.
But
we didn't have to wait long to see him again.
No, we didn't. In July of 2007, literally almost a year to the day of him leaving England, Thaksin Shinawatra is the owner of Manchester City and decides to bring in the England manager.
Was he
After Sam Allardyce had turned down the job as well, apparently. Sam Allardyce had turned down that job. And then they went and got Sven.
Was Shinawatra like? Do you reckon he was the billionaire, the billionaire owner that opened the door for crooks coming in? Because like after him, there just seemed to be a flood of like foreign owners coming in that ended up being like pure crooks and skinks and all sorts. There was Eggert Magnusson at West Ham. Portsmouth had like an absolute conveyor belt of owners that were just coming in saying they had money that had no money. It was a mental few years. Birmingham. Jesus. It was a mental few years in the Premier League.
People were on edge about Abramovich, weren't they? But like Chelsea were doing bits and bobs, you know what I mean? But like this guy, Shinawatra, what was it like? Did he say like he bought and then had no money, or was it? I mean, he went to like Taiwanese prison or something, didn't he?
Aye, he got done for embezzlement or something like that.
Yeah,
and didn't all his finances get frozen? And
and then that's when
Sheikh Mansour comes in.
And the rest is
that's after Sven.
That's after Sven.
Speaking of Birmingham, just to tie it all together. Breaking news: Troy Deeney's just signed for them on a free after leaving Watford. He'd have definitely got an England cap under Sven.
He would have 100%.
Troy Deeney is a Sven striker. Like
to be fair, I think Sven affected the England selection process that much that for the following however many managers, it was like anyone who was over 30, over like 12 stone in weight and played centre forward was going to get a cap.
Jay Bothroyd, Kevin Davis, Nicky Lambert.
Yeah, loads. So obviously he signed for Manchester City a 3-year contract worth £2 million per year plus bonuses. Was the money that was being paid to Sven. He was not only was England's first foreign manager, he was also Manchester City's first foreign manager.
Got off to a mint start with them, eh?
They did really well.
They were flying at the start of that season. Mika Richards and Richard Dunn at centre back.
Oh.
Absolutely. They were flying, and then I don't think they conceded a goal. They beat Man U. Giovanni scored for them, and then they came up against Chelsea and got humped about 6-0 or something.
So before the season started, he signed obviously Rolando Bianchi, which we've learnt, along with Gelson Fernandez, Giovanni, Martin Petrov, Elano, Vedran Chorluka, and Javier Garrido. I remember the picture of him and about 20 lads with with Man City shirts.
Well, they'd not won a home game in 2007 until Sven took over. They had Pierce the year before, and they're not won a home game since the turn of the year.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, they've not won a home game since the turn of the year. And then Sven comes in and just. I thought they looked like an exciting team. Elano was mint.
Elano, well, they were third until November.
Petrov as well.
Yeah, Martin Petrov.
He was quite good. The third until November, and then in the January they fell to 17th after only winning one game out of the previous 5.
He turned Stephen Ireland into an absolute superstar that season. Stephen Ireland was quality that year.
Did he get Young Player of the Year that year? Or was it the season after Stephen Ireland got Young Player of the Year?
It was one of the two, but you're right. I
remember Michael Johnson was good. He'd have got an England cap if he was still there.
Giovanni does something odd, didn't he?
Giovanni was good.
He went a hole eventually.
Well, they
got against Man United.
They won both derbies, didn't they, that season?
Yeah.
Did I?
Benjani scored in the second one, didn't he?
Darius Vassell got a new lease of life.
I bet you he was loving it when it was announced.
I was a Sven coming in, loved that.
Sound I don't have to train.
Richards was class.
I was.
He was
playing as a centre back rather than a right back under Sven. He was absolutely mint.
Do you want that debut?
Yeah,
and Schmeichel.
He switched between Hart and Schmeichel at the
start of the season. Schmeichel. And then he took Schmeichel to Notts County.
Yeah, but that it was weird how that his season at Man City come to an end, wasn't it? Everybody knew he was leaving without him actually confirming he was leaving.
Shinawatra had released a statement in the spring saying an avalanche of very poor results, which is unacceptable at this level, which means his last game will be against Middlesbrough. So then in true Sven style, they go and get beat 8-1, which is the biggest defeat of Sven's career.
I reckon he didn't say anything like in TV. He didn't care anymore.
Which is
sat there, like, do what you want. Really
just watching porn on a laptop in the change room, like, I'll do what you want, lads, I'm busy.
Some say that the team had gone on strike at half-time when they came in at half-time.
I've got the squad here if you want it.
Yeah, go on.
That season.
So Andres Isaacson, Micah Richards, Michael Ball, Neda Manua, Usman Dabo, don't know who that is, he was sold. Michael Johnson.
Usman Dabo's the one that Joey Barton beat up.
All right. Stephen Ireland, Giovanni, Emilian Penza, Rolando Bianchi,
of course,
Alano, Darius Vassell, Paul Dickov, Martin Petrov, Verdin Chorluka, Sunji Hai, Kasper Schmeichel, Naif, Georgios Samaras.
It's the god.
Dietmar Hamann, Richard Dunn, Javier Garrido, Joe Hart, Ben Gianni, Gelson Fernandez, some from one Belarus I can't say.
Oh, Valery Bodjanov.
Oh, Valery Bodjanov, of course.
Yeah, there you go. Nere Castillo, Ched Evans, wonder what he ended up doing. Sam Williamson, Daniel Sturridge, Kelvin Atuhu, and Felipe Caicedo.
Wow.
Jesus.
So he didn't have a bad squad there.
No,
he didn't really. Well, they finished that season in 9th place, and they finished 1 place away from the UEFA Cup qualifying positions. But they eventually did qualify through the fair play ruling,
wasn't it?
Fair play ruling. So Sven had been the first manager of Manchester City to get them into Europe since 69-70 season.
Claiming that.
And he'd won both derbies, obviously. And he also achieved the club's joint highest Premier League point total of 55 points that season. But he left by mutual consent.
Man.
After having 2 years left on his contract. But the mutual consent was done because Manchester City supporters had got a petition of 14,000 signatures, which was handed to the club demanding his release.
Jesus
Christ, eh?
We don't see him on these shores. He leaves, and on the 3rd of June 2008, he becomes the manager of the Mexican national team.
So random, eh?
Which, to be fair, I dare say this is probably the beginning of the downfall of Sven.
Yeah. And we're going to fly through these.
Let's fly through this.
Yeah.
I don't even want to talk records and that.
He's gone. He's done goal 1 and goal 2 by this. So he's gone. There's rumours of him going to Portsmouth, but nothing comes about. And then he comes back in July.
That's such a Sven movie.
To come back to Portsmouth.
Yeah.
Then just swapping between Sven and Harry Redknapp.
He comes back in 2009, obviously appointed as a director of football of Notts County.
That was a mental situation. Well, they had Todd Grip was manager for a bit.
They brought in Sol Campbell and Kasper Schmeichel were their 2 biggest signings of that.
Yeah, Lee Hughes was there. They ended up getting promoted under Steve Cotterill in the end.
They did,
Mental, man.
And then he leaves. He wasn't even there very long. Was he there like a month or something? But there's
something like that.
There's stories going about like he was there, manager, like they were just like they had a game on a Tuesday night, and it would be like the night before, and Sven's here drinking bottles of champagne, and everyone's getting drinks in. They were flying to different venues on private jets, like spending money they haven't got, basically. Then obviously, we all know what happened with Notts County. 28th of March 2010, he becomes the manager of Ivory Coast.
As you do.
Received a one-off payment of £270,000 and then
Bet cash. All in cash.
and then he leaves the post and immediately releases a statement saying he's not being paid that well. And then he leaves.
You accept it all in cash, you met.
Which is not. Wow. And then he comes back to Britain again, 3rd of October 2010. He comes in as the manager of Leicester City.
I just shit there and all, didn't he? Just mid-table finishes after spending loads of money.
Absolutely awful.
This is for anybody that's young that might be listening to us. Like Leicester were in the Championship at the time. They got relegated soon after Sven being there as well.
Yeah.
The League One.
He did sign Kasper Schmeichel, though, Leicester fans, and you love him, so
yeah.
Give him a bit of credit.
He also signed Kyle Norton and Yakubu on loan to Leicester City that season.
Jermaine Beckford.
But in the December of that season, there was talks of him going back to Blackburn Rovers after Sam Allardyce's, and obviously another talk with Blackburn Rovers after Sam Allardyce got the sack, but he turned it down. Decided to stay at Leicester. David Nugent, Paul Konchesky are also Sven signings. Matt Mills.
Just fly through it, Nave. Get the
job. Please.
Leaves. Comes in as the manager of China.
No, goes to China. Guangzhou RF.
Guangzhou RF.
Just 3 clubs in China.
Shanghai. Is he going to Shanghai?
Yeah, Shanghai, Shenzhen.
Wow. And then Guangzhou at the brand.
Doesn't win a league.
Which does absolutely nothing.
But his legacy lives on.
Yep. And then his final managerial position in October 2018, he signs a 6-month contract with the Philippines.
Wonder why he went there.
Yeah.
He definitely did that backpacking tour that people do when they're like 20. but when he was like 65, 70.
No, 100%.
Taking over from Terry Butcher.
Fucking hell, man.
He comes in.
What the fuck's going on in the Philippines, man?
He
was running the Philippines FA.
He beat Singapore and he got draw with Thailand and Indonesia. Finished 2nd place in Group B. But then they got beat off Vietnam 4-2. So they didn't qualify for whatever
the
for the Asia Cup.
Oh, well.
Oh, well.
Yeah. And never had a managerial position after that. But he still keeps about his beard and things, doesn't he? Does the odd...
Yeah. See him kicking about. Right. Should we fly through these England 11s of Sven players?
Yep.
I went for tragic.
I've got a bit of a mix.
Yeah, I've got funny ones, and I've
tried to keep it as low
ones.
caps as possible, but I've also thrown in a couple of players that aren't low caps. But
I've got players that I liked under Sven as well.
72 players to pick from that were capped under Sven Goran Eriksson, as I said before, out of 82 that were picked for squads, but obviously 10 didn't play. One of them being Matt Jansen.
Wow.
Right. I've gone for a classic Sven 4-4-2.
Me as well.
Oh, sorry, boys. I went 3-5-2, but you understand with my centre halves.
Fair enough. Right. I'll go first. In goal, 1 cap under Sven for 30 minutes playing time, but he went to Euro 2004. Ian Walker.
Yes, me as well, mate.
Yeah, same.
I get him.
In a time where he could have picked people like Scott Carson, Rob Green as like a 3rd choice goalkeeper after James and Robinson, to pick Ian Walker, love it, Sven. Loads of
Leicester's
times.
number 1 when the team got relegated.
Yeah.
Left back, I had Chris Powell. Had to be Chrissy Powell.
Me as well.
Had to be Chris Powell.
I'll do mine are all centre halves. I'll do them as a unit.
Go on then.
I can go for yours first if you want.
Oh, centre halves. Oh yeah. By the way, Chris Powell 5 caps under Sven for England. My centre half pairing, the late Hugo Hegiog, 4 caps under Sven. Scored on England and Sven's first England game, and Zach Knight, who got 2 caps under Sven Goran Eriksson.
Oh, mate. My centre back partnership is obviously Jonathan Woodgate and Ledley King, because I genuinely believe if they were both fit enough, well, Sven did pick Ledley quite a lot actually, but if they managed to keep themselves fit, they'd have got a lot more England caps. And they were unreal.
Yeah, apart from they would have had to have played for Arsenal and Man U for Sven to give them more caps, or get married in OK Magazine. I'm a firm believer that like Sven loved a bit of that. Go on, Dill, who's your three?
I've got a back three unit of Ulrika Johnson, Faria Alam, and Nancy Delalio.
Who's the middle of the three? That's the most important.
That's
position.
a leaky defence. That is a leaky defence.
Faria. Ulrika's coming off right, Nancy's off left.
Yeah, Ulrika seems like more of the ball playing defender.
Yeah.
Love it.
That was amazing. That was
loads
amazing,
of time
Dylan.
for that.
That's the best 11s ever.
Does he have social media? Because if we tag him in it and he listens, I can imagine him being a fan.
Oh, should I tag all four of them and get the storm brewing again?
Oh God, I love that.
Love it.
Right, moving on. Right back.
Right back.
I've got Luke Young, 7 caps.
I thought about Luke Young and I thought 2002 we needed a right back and a certain somebody stepped to the plate at that tournament, and it was Mr. Danny Mills. He stepped up in that tournament.
In my head, really. Right? In my head, because that's when I started proper watching England. Luke Young has about 50 England caps in my head. I just feel like I used to see him all the time.
that end of Euro 2004, World Cup 2006 was peak Luke Young time for Sven.
Yeah. When Charlton were doing well.
Yeah.
That's,
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you've got wing backs, or you've got them as midfielders.
Yeah, one's a left back and one's a I don't know really what he is. Right wing back, Theo Walcott, 1 cap. Left wing back, Paul Konchesky, 2 caps. Under Sven.
Right. Do you want to do your wingers? Yeah,
my wingers are Trevor Sinclair and Golden Balls, David Beckham.
Yeah. On the left of midfield, same. Trevor Sinclair, 12 caps. And I've shoehorned Owen Hargreaves on right midfield, who got 34 caps under England. And he must have played in like every position across the midfield under Sven as well.
Well, Owen Hargreaves is in my central midfield, just because I really like Jay said previous, like when literally nobody else believed in Owen Hargreaves. Sven stayed true to the cause. So I've got Owen Hargreaves and Nicky Butt in centre midfield.
for a storming O2 World Cup.
No one's getting through that midfield.
Go on, Dill. Who's your central midfield?
Midfield 3, 1 cap each. Lee Bowyer, Alan Thompson, and David Dunn.
Nice. I've also got David Dunn in there. 1 cap, 1 assist, may I add?
Brings the flair, doesn't he? Yeah.
It brings the flair alongside 1 cap Gavin McCann in my midfield.
Love it.
Love it. Lee Bowyer's got 1 cap, 1 assist as well.
I couldn't put Gavin in mine because it's too piss-taking and I love him too much. Lee Bowyer slotted right in because I don't like him.
His 1 assist came off a Alan Smith header.
Yeah, it was debut goal for Smith as well.
I need Nath midfield too.
We've got them. Hargreaves and Nicky Butt.
Oh shit! Sorry, yeah.
Stay true,
right.
Footy.
Our front twos then. This could have been any number of forwards. Like
it could have been anybody. It could have been anybody.
I'll go first. I'll get mine out of the way. The most cap player in my team and the captain of this well-oiled Sven machine, Darius Vassell with 22. And Andrew Johnson with 2 caps.
Yeah, and let's think about when he capped Andrew Johnson. He played him as a right midfielder. He just got 23 goals for Palace in the Premier League. Played him as a right midfielder.
Vassell and Johnson.
I've got Vassell and Michael Ricketts.
Yeah, I looked at Ricketts.
Love it. I've picked Wayne Rooney first because I fell in love with him after Euro 2004 and it was unbelievable. I love Wayne Rooney. And my second striker, I've gone for James Beattie because he should have been selected for Euro
of course you
2004.
have.
It is an absolute travesty that man never got selected for Euro 2004.
Oh man,
We wouldn't have missed a penalty against Portugal if he went.
that's amazing.
It's a travesty. That's the one thing I'm not too keen on. Sven didn't pick. Well, he didn't take Smudgen either. That's another one. I could go for days, but
You could have.
Woody. Didn't take Woody to a tournament.
I'm going to quickly, before we go off, I'm going to quickly rattle through the players that he got called up to squads that never got a kick.
Oh,
love
I thought we were going to do all 67 or whatever it was.
No.
All
Right, so
80 hours.
Chris Kirkland, Scott Carson, Michael Dawson, Ben Foster, Sean Davis of Fulham, J. Lloyd Samuel, God rest his soul, Matt Jansen, Nigel Rio-Corker, David Thompson, and Stephen Warnock.
Wow.
Oh, I was confident one if it played.
I never played under Sven.
Yeah, Bears.
Love it. So
Oh, that was fun.
there's your episode on Sven is the Menace.
We'll get the 11s on Instagram and Twitter and that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Slow start, but it really came to life during the England talk. Really enjoyed that.
That's all we were here for, really.
Yeah, it was. And that 11 goal was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm assuming one of the three is a captain. Like,
No, Vassell was his captain.
No, Vassell was my captain.
Vassell's the captain.
It was the senior pro of the team.
Sven's team, innit?
He fucking loved Darius Vassell.
22 England caps, sir.
Do you think that, like, I bet he lives with Sven now. I bet Sven's just got him, like, on a little perch, like, next to him.
There's
Feeds him out his hand and that. Sit Darius. Takes him out
the
for
manager of
walks.
the Philippines.
Takes him out for walks.
It's Darius.
there's like a 5-man WhatsApp group with Sven, Darius, Stuart Downing, and like Ulrika or something.
Oh God! Right.
So
Till next time.
Yeah, usual social media stuff.
Yeah, follow us on Twitter at Prawn Podcast. Follow us on Instagram at prawn_sandwich. Shout out Apple Tree Pub and Carlisle. Shout out T7 Clothing.
Shout out to Sven.
Shout out to Sven.
Cheers, Sven.
Cheers, Sven. Big shagger.
Sven